performance testing using LoadRunner. So the main purpose of going with this training is to make the student knowledgeable and skillful in performance testing concepts and how technically the performance testing activity can be done using the tool called LoadRunner. So LoadRunner is the industry standard performance testing tool. What I mean by that is that it is a leading tool in the market. Of course, now it is not a HP tool. HP has sold the testing tools, entire suite of testing tools to a company called Micro Focus. So currently, the Micro Focus is the tool company. However, the same features what we had when HP was selling these tools, the same features and the same advantages what are there in the tool are still there even with Micro Focus now. So, okay. So, let me take you through the course content that I would be covering, and then what would be the objective for a student to go through this course. Let me show you the course content. The entire course has been divided into theoretical parts and theoretical combination practical sessions. So the first major chunk would be the first aspect would be making the student or making you to understand what is performance testing, what are the concepts of it, and the next part would be introducing you to LoadRunner. Okay, so there is a misconception in the market that it is just the tool. So it is an automated tool and everything the tool does on its own. No, that in practicality it is not true. The one should understand what is the tool and why the tool has all those features. So here what we do in these first two sessions is one, in the first session or the first chapter or the first section of our content would be very, very important. Once if you understand what is performance testing, what are the types of performance testing, why we do performance testing, what are the terminologies of it, what is the life cycle of performance testing, then definitely you would better understand why the tool has these features or what are the add-ins, plugins, protocols or the features of the tool. Okay, so why a tool should be developed in a manner that is there already in LoadRunner. So all in all, when you get introduced to LoadRunner, definitely the previous performance testing concept part that is there would be very, very beneficial. You will be able to relate or correlate, why this tool has this feature or why this tool is having these kind of options or configurations or settings. It is nothing but because it is required for performance. Okay, so the first two sessions would build a platform for you, and then the third, fourth, and fifth would be completely on the tool. I will practically do examples and show you, and I'll also make you do some samples in front of me, and also would assign some assignments to you so that you can also practice and also come back with your doubts in the later part of the sessions. Okay, so so the fourth part, the third part would be script preparation, that is Vugen. Okay, what is Vugen? What are the components of LoadRunner and all? As of now, don't worry if you don't get what are those technical names and all. I will take you through them. Don't worry. And the fourth part is nothing but the prepared scripts. Using those prepared scripts, what is that you will be doing? The performance testing part. Okay, that is also very important. So you are preparing the scripts and you are executing those scripts, conducting the tests. And the last part is nothing but after you conduct the test or after you perform the required load test or performance test, the analysis. This is one major important skill that one should have to work on projects, because it is not just preparing the scripts and executing the runs. After you are executing the performance tests, Okay, one should also be skillful in analyzing those tests and finding out the bottlenecks and reporting to the development team so that they can fine tune the applications, or they can fine tune the problems, or they can fix the problems. That is, when I say problems, it is performance problems of the application. And then we again would do next round of tests to check whether the fix have really worked or not. So all these are very important for anyone to get gain knowledge and be skillful on performance testing aspects using LoadRunner. So the main objective of this course content, why I have designed the course content like this, is that one should be, after completing this course, one should be able to at least be fit enough to work in a project. Okay. So what I mean by that is, like, after going through this training, one should be, if you are selected for a project, you should not go and show your blank face there. Okay, you should be able to kickstart your activities. Okay, with the entire learning that you had here, you should not say that you should not have a feeling that, oh, I don't know this, where do I start, how should I start the activities. Okay, so definitely I'll make you fit enough to go and to go and start work on a project. Okay, so this is how the entire course has been designed. Now let me take you through the as I told you. So we have to start with the performance testing concepts. So let me take you through the concepts of performance testing. Many people have a wrong perception saying that, okay, um, uh, even if I don't have testing prior knowledge, okay, or if I am already a functional tester, it is very easy to do performance testing. That performance testing and functional testing would not be so different. Okay, and it would be a cakewalk for any person who already have a functional testing experience to do performance testing. Yes, I agree that if you are already experienced in functional testing or functional automation testing, like UFT or Selenium or any other tools, I agree that your prior knowledge is very good enough. Sorry, it would be giving a confidence for you. But performance testing is I agree, it is a testing, but it has its own principles. It has its own concepts, which are very important. One should understand. Yes, if you have a prior testing experience in functional testing or any automation testing, yes, very good. You can easily pick them quickly. Okay, but is it mandatory that you should have experience in your functional testing or in your functional automation? Not mandatory. If you take me, I'm not experienced in functional automation, but I have done functional testing, that is manual testing. But with that background, if I try to relate and understand these concepts, it would be very easy. Even if you are a new person to testing also, I will take you through the concepts and make you understand, so that it would be very easy for you to practice and learn the concepts. Okay, so first of all, performance testing using LoadRunner. Now the main point that we have to understand is, why performance testing. Now, in a given project, per se, if the development is completed and the functional testing is completed, multiple rounds of functional testing would have happened, because the defects would be there, and the defects have been fixed by the development team. Again, another round of testing would be done, and finally, one fine day, all the defects would be fixed, and the application would be performing as per the requirements or as expected. Okay, then what is the purpose of doing performance testing if the application is already working perfectly, or already working as per the requirements? If it is performing as per the requirements already, all the functionalities are working, then why one should do performance testing? So the development is completed, functional testing is completed, all the defects were fixed. Now all the functionalities, catch my word, are performing as expected. When I say performing there, they are doing, all the functionalities are working as per the given requirements by the business group or the business analyst or whatever it is. When the functionalities are performing well, why we need to do performance testing? That is a major question one should have an understanding for. The point here is, okay, in functional testing, we test whether the functional aspect of that functionality or that module or that business flow is working correctly or not. End to end, when I fill a form and click on submit, am I getting a resultant page or not? Okay. We take any example. Am I able to successfully log in? Am I able to transfer fund as per the given criteria or not? All that functionality is what is being tested in the functional testing cycle. But when it comes to performance testing, the main goal of performance testing is, if the same functionality is being used by multiple users at the same time, how the application would be behaving. So it would be difficult for you to understand my statement. Let me give you one of the examples that we generally will be using. I'm sure everybody would have used that application. It is nothing but our Indian Railways ticket booking system, okay, irctc.co.in. So what is happening particularly with that application is that, suppose say the booking time starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, or per se, suppose say the Tatkal booking, something like morning 10 to 10:30 is what is one slot, and another thing is 11 to 11:30. At that time in point, what is happening is, the end users of IRCTC across India, or might be across globe also, anybody can book a ticket from anywhere, might be logging into the system. At the same time, I mean, when I say at the same time, it is sharp at 10 o'clock if you take as an example. Across the globe or across India per se, imagine how many people would be logging in and booking the tickets. We all would have some good times and bad times, where that is like, at times your preferred ticket would got booked, at times your preferred ticket would not have got booked, because multiple users are accessing the application at the same time. Okay, so they say that around 10 lakh users is what is on IRCTC would be there at the time of Tatkal booking, that is at morning 10 o'clock. So when 10 lakh users on IRCTC are trying to book a ticket at the same time, okay, it is not one user after another user. That is, in the market, IRCTC is having a concurrent users load of 10 lakh users. Okay, when I say concurrent, all the users are simultaneously accessing the application. Now, what will happen to the application is that application that is there on the server should sustain this load and should respond to all the users. Okay, so all the 10 lakh users are accessing the application. What will happen to the application because of these 10 lakh users accessing the application at the same time? Will that application would be able to sustain that load is the question. So the performance testing would answer these questions. Okay, in functional testing, yes, if I use it or you use it or any of the 10 lakh users use the application independently, yes, it is working fine. It has been tested already in functional testing. In performance testing, what we have to do is take the market users load and test the application in your performance testing cycle and find out whether this application would be sustaining that market load or not. So just I'm giving IRCTC as an example because everybody might have used that application. Okay, just so that you will get a good idea of it. The same example could be taken for performance testing. The same kind of scenario can be taken for any other applications, for banking applications. If you take suppose take SBI or ICICI or HDFC, so their requirement could be something like morning in the business hours. Okay, suppose say morning 10 to evening 4 o'clock. There could be lakhs of users using the application. Okay, so after functional testing, if I don't do performance testing and release the product or release the application to the end users, that is production, what will happen when multiple users are accessing the application at the same time? Your application would crash or some functionalities would not work. Okay, what? But in functional testing, all these would have been tested. The functionalities are working fine when one or two users accessing it or one or two users tested it functionally. But at the same time, lakhs of users or thousands of users are accessing at the same time. Your server is unable to sustain that load. So the server might crash or certain functionalities might not work. You might get page cannot be displayed, or everybody would have experienced this IRTC site. You click on book a ticket, the page goes for refresh for 5 minutes and it will never show the resultant page. The page would be going in a refresh mode where we are waiting for the response from the server. That response would never come. After 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we just close the browser. What is happening there? It is not that the application is having a functional issue. The application is having a performance issue. So out of 10 lakhs, I am one of the user, and for me, or like me, another 100 users or 1000 users are not getting the resultant page or the response from the server. Why? Is it a problem of functionality? No. Absolutely, the functionality is working fine. It's been tested. Only when multiple users are accessing the application at the same time, that application is having problem. So every application has its own user set in production. Okay. Suppose say ICICI Bank. Yes, ICICI Bank might be having 10 lakh users, official users, but in day-to-day business, okay, out of 10 lakhs, it is expected that 1 lakh users would be continuously accessing the application in the normal business hours. The non-business hours also users will be accessing, but the load would not be that much. It would be only 10,000 people. But if you take any typical business day from morning 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, if ICICI in the market, though they have 10 lakh valid users, out of 10 lakh valid users or 10 lakh users who are having online banking accounts, out of 10 lakhs, at any given time in point in 365 days of the entire year, okay, if you take any day, on an average, 1 lakh users would be there on the application. Okay, so I have to test the application with 1 lakh users load, okay, and find out whether all the functionalities, again, I'm stressing here, all the functionalities are responding to the end users quickly or not. Okay, I know that all the functionalities are working correctly. There is no functional defects. Now my intention is to find out how all these functionalities are performing under load. Okay, that is the main aspect of performance testing. So here the point is, okay, now I do a performance test and find out whether it is responding back or not. One of the biggest question in performance testing is how fast it should respond back. Okay, suppose say I have filled the funds transfer details, and when I click on transfer button, when I click on transfer button, how fast the user should get the resultant page or the confirmation page. Can it take 20 seconds? Can it take 30 seconds? Or it should respond in 5 seconds. Okay. This is what is the criteria that in performance testing we would be checking or we would be finding out. So I conduct a performance test, suppose on a banking application putting 10,000 users or 1 lakh users, and I will be giving a report saying that funds transfer functionality is responding within 8 seconds. Within 8 seconds when the load on that application or when the load on that functionality is of 10,000 users. If it is of 20,000 users, the response time would be 10 seconds or 12 seconds. This is what I am finding out in performance testing. So my results would give, or the performance testing results would give an indication to the development team or the application team or the business analyst or the architect saying that, boss, this functionality that is being built and functionally tested, now when it is performance, when it's been performance tested, with this application's intended market load, okay, it is behaving at this level. For 10,000 users, the response times are, or the application is responding at 8 seconds. Okay. If the load on the application is 20,000 users, it is responding at 10 to 12 seconds. Now, is this good enough to go to market? Like 8 seconds, is it okay? If my performance of the application is 8 seconds when it is being subjected to 10,000 users, is a business decision that the application team or the application owner or that customer would think. If that is not good for the business, no, my end users 8 seconds, it is not, my end users will not be happy if it is responding at 8 seconds. Then what they should do, they have to fix this performance problem. It is not functional problem, it's performance problem. To fix this performance problem, they have to tune the application. Okay, what is tuning? What are the aspects of tuning? All that we will slowly learn anyway. It's part of our course content. Don't worry, I'll make you understand. So why we do performance testing? Performance testing is to measure how fast my application is responding when it is subjected to multiple users accessing it at the same time. So each application has its own performance criteria. As I told you, for IRCTC, I might require to test it with 10 lakh users. For ICICI Bank, I might require to test it with 1 lakh users. Suppose say there is any other application, okay, flight booking applications are there. Suppose I might require to test it with 5,000 users of load. Why? Because 5,000 users, when they are using concurrently, fast it is responding. These days, time is money. Nobody wants to sit and wait for prolonged timing for getting the tickets get booked or your transactions get completed. Now everything should work at just a click away. Something should not take 30 seconds. Something should not take 20 seconds. Okay, it is all how quick your application is working. That application would bring good business to your customers. Okay, so how fast your application should work is the main criteria here. Okay, so always, as a mentioned, always performance testing is done only after the functional testing is completed. Okay, now coming to defining the performance testing. What is performance testing? How it has been defined in the market? Okay. Friends, like I don't know whether you are aware of it or not. There are no industry standard definitions available, okay, which everybody follows. Okay, when I say everybody, all software companies or all customers follows. Okay, so there is no one definition either in for performance testing or for your functional testing. There are no industry standard definitions. Okay. Yes, people have common understandings, but everybody have their own definitions. Each company would frame their own definitions and then accordingly work on the projects. So whatever the definition that I would be showing to you might not be the only definition available in the market. Okay, you refer to different sites, you refer to different documentation, you refer to different books, you refer to different tool company help guides or manual guides or whatever it is. The definitions would be varying, but out of that definition, the core understanding would be the same, or the core concept would be the same. Okay, so based on our discussion or based on our course content, I will initially take you through one definition, and as and when you gain knowledge in the later sessions, I will also make show you other definitions so that you will well understand the concept. Okay, so now performance testing. So what is it? Performance testing is a test that is done to find out how fast the application functionalities are working when it is subjected to multiple users accessing it at the same time. Okay, so if to put it into a definition format, it is nothing but performance tests are the tests that determine end-to-end timing of various time-critical business processes and transactions under particular load. Now, let me make you understand this definition. That is nothing but I do performance tests. Okay, so so this performance test, why I'm doing is to find out end-to-end timing. This is very important. What I mean by end-to-end timing is, suppose if I click or if I have filled all the fields of the funds transfer, when I click on funds transfer, how fast I am getting the resultant page, okay, or my confirmation or my warning page or my error page or a caution page saying that you don't have funds, or a successful message would be something like, yes, the funds has been transferred to a certain account and your remaining balance is this. So how fast, by from the time I clicked on transfer button, from that moment of time or from that time till the resultant page or the expected resultant page got loaded onto my screen, that is the end-to-end timing of that transaction. Okay, here in performance testing, every click that you do which has a server interaction is referred as a transaction. Okay, in the same way, okay, you can also measure anything, like suppose logging in is one transaction. Okay, so I filled my user ID password and click on login. So the moment I click on login, my clock will start measuring. Okay, and the clock will only stop when I get the answer back from the server. When I say answer, it is nothing but my home page, or it could be an error also. If my user ID password combination is wrong, I should get a response back. So response could be a positive response or a negative response or whatever it is. How fast I am getting it back. Now, this timing or end-to-end timing, when I am saying it is the measurement should not be done only when one user is doing. I should measure it when multiple users are doing or multiple users load is there on the application. Okay, so performance tests are the tests that determine end-to-end timing of various time critical business processes. Okay, so this is also very important. Okay, so and transactions under particular load. This is the main important thing that one should understand. I am not doing one user after another user. I am putting the entire load onto the application and then finding out the end-to-end timings. Okay, end-to-end timings. So to do performance testing, like manual testing or functional testing, the functional testing can be of a manual or it can be automated. Okay, but whereas performance testing is a tool-based testing, it should be always be done by a performance testing tool only. One cannot do performance tests manually. The main reason for it is, suppose if I want to simulate or if I want to test for 10,000 users or 5,000 users load, will I have 5,000 testers available? No, that is not at all a feasible criteria, right? So always performance testing is a tool-based testing. There is no manual performance testing. Okay, so always it has to be done using a tool. Okay, so as you know, our interest here is on LoadRunner. There are many market in the market. There are many tools, but however, LoadRunner is a market leading tool. Okay, so always performance tests are tool-based tests. We should use one performance testing tool to conduct performance tests. Okay, please let me know if you have any doubts.
Okay, you can continue.
Yeah, thank you. So now the main why we do performance testing. Okay, though I have given a one definition here, just for our understanding, I have drafted this definition. You can have n number of definitions, but at the end of the day, how fast is my application working is the only bottom line meaning of it. Okay, now why am I doing performance testing? Yes, I just want to know whether my system is meeting the performance criteria. The criteria is nothing but 10,000 users would be load on my application and it should respond back in 5 seconds. Okay, so the criteria is 10,000 users and the response of my application or my functionality should be 5 seconds. So why am I doing performance testing? Performance testing, I'm doing performance testing to check when 10,000 users are there on this application as a load, all the transactions are responding back within an SLA of 5 seconds or not, is what is my criteria. Okay, next. Why I do performance testing? Yes, I can also do performance testing to compare, okay, two logical systems. Okay, which one of them is performing better? Okay, be careful when I'm saying two systems. There could be an application, okay, that is already there available for the end users in the production. Now the same application has been upgraded with some functionalities or some hardware or some infrastructure. Now it doesn't mean that when I upgrade something, everything in software works perfectly as it is that was there earlier. Okay, so what I do, if I have two versions of the same application or two builds, one is the old one which is already running. Now with new features or new hardware or new infrastructure, I have a second system or a second build with me. Okay, functionally there could be some improvements. User friendliness would have improved. Some UI schemes would have come. The old UI was very tedious. The new UI was very user friendly. Uh, the users need not to do multiple clicks or need not to spend more time to do some activity. All this would have come in a new system. Now, but how about the performance? Okay, so performance tests are also generally conducted to compare which build or which version of the application or the old system or the new upgraded system, which of these two are performing quickly. Okay, so I can also do performance tests to compare two systems. Okay, Don't think that I can do a comparison test between my customer's application and a competitor's application, because their performance details we might not know. So here the statements, what does the statement mean is that two systems is nothing but of the same application. I have two versions. Okay, when I say two versions, it could be the same functionalities, but with some enhancements or user friendliness, or they have been upgraded in the hardware. Some infrastructure changes would have come. Okay, both the systems are doing the same functionalities, but because of this upgrade of the infrastructure, or user friendliness, or the front end UI has been changed or something, that doesn't give guarantee that the performance of the application is intact. Okay, so to find out whether the new system or the upgraded system or the new version of the same application, okay, is of the same performance or not, I can do performance tests. Okay, it can measure what parts of the system are performing badly. Okay, so this is very important. Third point, it can measure what parts of the system is performing badly. That is, suppose say if you take any application, you might have 100 functionalities. For example, you might have 100 functionalities, but 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 out of those, only 5, 10, or 15 are the major functionalities which would be used by the end users very regularly. Okay, majority of the business would be happening on those functionalities only. Okay, suppose say if you take any banking application, for say let me take an ICICI. This would hold good for any bank. Okay, so the main functionalities for ICICIbank.com to be available for its customers is nothing but the customer should be able to log in, check his balance, do funds transfers, and do some bill payments. Okay, if these are not there in that application, there is no purpose of having that application. Okay, for the end customers. Okay, if these are not there, everybody should walk into the branches and do the transaction. Okay, if these 3 to 4 functionalities are working as per the performance criteria or as per the performance requirement, then I can say that yes, this application would be helpful for ICICI customers. Now, when I say that, the ICICI application might have another 90 different functionalities also, or other set of functionalities also. Okay, like go and check the market or current day, your exchange rates, interest rates, okay, or how do I open this deposit account, or how do I open a business account, or how do I create my PF account. Okay, all these are also functionalities, but those would be used less than compared to the functionalities that I have mentioned, like checking the balance, doing the funds transfer, or doing some utility bill payments. Okay, so my focus would be on testing whether these parts of these functionalities are performing quickly enough so that the end users would be getting benefited out of them. Okay, rather than testing the entire application and finding out which parts of the application is performing badly. So it is a choice depending upon your function, your application functional criticality, which parts of the application should perform better than compared to other parts of the application. So when I do performance testing, I will come to know, okay, funds transfer is taking bit more time than compared to my account balance checking. Utility bill payments are taking functionality is taking more time when compared to funds transfer. Okay, so I can identify which parts of the application is performing well, which parts of the application is performing bad. When I say performing bad or performing good, what I mean here is I'm not talking about whether there are problems with the functionality. I am referring to how fast I am getting the resultant page. That is under load again. Remember that. Okay. Now, what load caused the system to perform badly? Now, this is another important point when I am doing performance test. Don't always think that I always do a performance test with only a certain load, that is 100 users or 1000 users or so. Okay. Now, suppose say there is an application that is being launched into the production today. This is the first time that application is going to production. So today when it is launched, it might have 1000 users as a end users who would be accessing it. But if the business is growing, what will happen? After 3 months, the users would go to 2000. After 6 months, the users might be increasing to 10,000. Why this has happened? Because the customer or this application or the owner of this application of that or that company has improved in doing their business. So now if I release the application to the production, I know there will be 1000 users. Okay. But down the line, after 3 months, I would have 2000 users or 5000 users. After 6 months, I might have 10,000 users. Now, today, if I test it for only 1000 users and leave the application to production, okay, for 1000 users, yes, it is working fine. All the functionalities are responding back within 5 seconds. But as the business is improving, that means the user load on the application is also increasing. So when 1000 users is there, it is 5 seconds. Tomorrow, after 3 months, if the users load has increased to 5000 users, definitely the application would not be performing at a 5 seconds response. Okay. So generally when we do performance test, we do for the current market loads and also for the future market loads. Okay. Here, one point you have to understand is that there is no functional change. There is no functional change. The functionality is the same today, after 3 months, or after 6 months. But the number of users accessing that application, the count, the number is changing. So when the number would change in future, I should get that kind of a requirement from the business analyst, and I have to do a test for the current market loads and for the future market loads also. So that now itself, when I'm releasing the application to the production, I should know for the current market loads how it would be working. For the future market loads, if my business does good, down the line 6 months after, if I get 10,000 users load, okay, how it is behaving, how it is performing. So for 10,000 users, if it is going slow and if it is responding at 30 seconds of time, then definitely after that 10,000 users upload or after that 6 months, okay, people would stop using this your application, or the end users would be stop using that application and they would shift to another application. They might open a bank account in the competitor, okay? Or you have good business, but you have a bad performing system. Okay, in the market, the business is growing, but the application that you are having is performing poorly. So, what will happen? Though you have a business in hand, you don't have an application which can properly support your business. That is another very critical thing one should have in mind. Okay, so you do performance test to find out how would be my future loads, what would be my future loads, and how my system would be performing. Okay, whether it is able to sustain the load and also the fastness of the application is intact or not. Having said all of these things, it is very critical to measure all these things. Okay, so it is not functionality; it is performance. So measuring is very critical here. So as someone said, it is easy to take measurements, but one should know what exactly you are measuring and what is the point in measuring and what is the purpose of measuring. Okay, so as I told you earlier when I showed the course content, analysis is very important in performance testing. Okay, we should be able to analyze what is happening with the application with 100 users, what is happening with the application with 200 users. Okay, what is the range of difference in the performance of the application. When it is 100 users, this is behaving at this level of 3 to 5 seconds. When it is 200 users, it is behaving at a 5 to 8 seconds. These kind of analysis is very important. As a performance tester, we need to do those analysis and submit it to the application teams or the development teams so that they will have a fair idea saying that, oh, this is how it is performing. There is nothing, remember this point, there is nothing this available in the market saying that if the application is developed in Java and if it is deployed on a certain kind of industry standard infrastructure, okay, it would be performing uh, mm, uh, with a response of 3 seconds or 5 seconds for a load of 1000 users. There is no formula available. There is no preset equation available. Okay, one has to do a performance test. Then only you will be able to find out whether that application is performing well or not for that application's load. There is no market available equation. There is no market available formula. No, nobody can certify saying that, okay, I buy a big server, a big infrastructure, and I deploy, I use industry standard coding, industry standard programming languages. I use industry standard backend database systems like Oracle or Teradata or whatever it is. Nothing will give you guarantee saying that yes, this would perform very quickly or the performance of the application would be quickly. It is always you have to test it and prove it. Okay, so this test and in quality, this statement holds good. Test it and prove it. Don't just go by the notions that were given saying that every infrastructure company will say that yes, my infrastructure is best. Okay, every the programming language or the programming language company would say that my programming language is the best in the market. Okay, so every database company would say that my database is the best. But when coming to performance, you have to test it for your application usage and then prove it, yes, it is working fine or it is not working fine. When I say working fine, not working fine, it is nothing but performance. Okay. So until unless you test it, measure it, and prove it, saying that it is performing at this level, so it is good for your business. It is not performing as per your requirement, so if this goes to production, this will impact your business. This you can come to a conclusion only when you conduct performance testing. Okay. So, let's see. So okay. So, as I told you, this is the continuation of our previous understanding of performance testing. So, performance testing, why is performance testing needed? Ensure optimal end user experience. So, again, I'm stressing, I'm not talking about functionality, I'm talking about how fast the functionality is working. So, we all know 2 years back, until 2 years back or 3 years back, this IRCTC used to be very pathetic. Okay, end users used to have a problem. I think it 1 2 years back, I think they have upgraded, and now the experience is very good. Earlier, we used to fill the form and click on the submit button or book a ticket button. The browser would show that it is getting processed. We used to never get a response, either a confirmation or uh, 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 at least a bad message or at least a caution message. Nothing used to come. The white screen used to be there as it is even after 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And you would have a message written there. Don't click on a refresh button or a browser back button. Okay. So those were the bad experiences for the end user, because something should be there on the screen. Yes, your ticket has been booked, or sorry, your ticket has not been booked. Those days, nothing used to come on the browser. Your white browser screen used to be there, standing there in front of you like that, even after 5 minutes, 10 minutes. People doesn't know what has happened. Whether the ticket got booked, whether their money got deducted, and the ticket not got booked, or the ticket got booked and the money got also got deducted. Something should be there on the screen. If it's not there, then users will never rely on the application. So you have to ensure that end user experience is good. It is nothing but how fast it is working and responding. Okay. So why will my application meet the defined response time requirements of my customer? Okay. The response time, okay, is one thing that I will explain you in detail in the later sessions. Is very important. Response time is nothing but how fast the application or that the functionality has responded. When I click on login button, how quickly my home page has come onto my screen, or how fast I was able to log in. When I click on funds transfer, how fast I got the message. When I click on book a ticket button, how fast the response has come back. Okay. So these response times are very important. So will my application meet the defined response time requirements of my customers? So as a performance testing team, the development team or the business analyst of that application or the owner of the application would define, saying that all the transactions of this application should be below 5 seconds. Okay. When the load on the application is 500 users, that could be a requirement. So taking that requirement, we do performance tests, and our test result would say which of those functionalities are coming between 0 to 5 seconds, which are crossing 5 seconds. Whichever are crossing 5 seconds, those are of those transactions are of bad response times, are having bad response times, that we will report, and now the development team should fix those functionalities so that those also would fall into anything between 0 to 5 seconds. Okay, so that is the point here. Next, will my users experience acceptable response times even during peak hours? There's another best example. Suppose if we take Amazon.com or Flipkart.com and all, here these online shopping applications would have different criteria in the production. Okay, when I say different criteria, uh, in a normal general days, the load on the applications might be something like 20,000 users. But on a festive seasons or some special offer seasons, this would shoot up to 1 lakh users. Okay, suppose say the Amazon or your in US, whatever the online shopping applications that are there. Okay, there in the entire lifetime of that application, the peak loads would be on in the season of like your Amazon, eBay's, and all other applications there, Target or whatever it is. All those applications in a year, in the entire 1 year duration, the peak loads on those applications would be during your November and December seasons. Okay, where they have the festivities of Thanksgiving Day or Christmas offers and all that. So all the other months, suppose say from Jan to November, till November, you might have something like 10,000 users or 20,000. But in November and December, you might have 1 lakh users using the application at the same time, 1 lakh concurrent users. So I have to test my application. And also the important thing is they the online shopping applications, they might be doing their 90% of the business in November and December only. At those uh, business months, in those business months, if your application is very slow and if your functionalities are breaking and if the responses are not going back to the users, okay, and you get page cannot be displayed or your application is crashing, then you lose the business. People will simply go and buy the same items from another online shopping application. Okay, so we have to test, okay, the applications even for our peak usages. Okay, not only the general market usage but also for the peak usages. This might not be the criteria for all applications. Depending upon the nature of the application, the business and the domain in which your application is, you need to do different kinds of the tests also for normal usage and peak usages. For the example that I've quoted for online shopping applications, if you are not doing your peak tests, there is no point because you do 90 business of the 90% of your business in your peak months only. Okay, so you have to definitely do different kind of tests. Some tests you might do, you do a performance test with 10,000 users, where the response times, the expected response time or or the fastness of the application is 3 seconds. When 1 lakh users, at least your response time should be 8 seconds. Okay, uh, you might not be aiming saying that even for 1 lakh I should have 3 seconds response time. Okay, yes, you can have that as a requirement, but for that you need to spend a lot of money on upgrading your infrastructure, hardware, and all that. Okay, that's why I have written here acceptable. When, the point here mentioning acceptable is that only. Okay, okay. Normal days it is 3 seconds, but on a peak usages it should be acceptable. Okay, it might not be 3 seconds; it should be 5 seconds or 8 seconds. If it is taking 20 seconds or 30 seconds, people will never come back to your application. Or then and there they'll close your application and then go to eBay or some other competitive applications and then they do the business. You are losing the business here. You are losing the business. Okay. So some applications will have these kind of requirements also. I have to do multiple different tests or multiple different scenarios depending upon the nature of that application. Okay. So sometimes some applications um, have criteria like it would be a constant load across the year. There would be no increase in the loads and no decreases in the load. Something like government offices. Okay, so either in January or in December or say any season, any month. Okay, across the government offices, across the states or across the country. For that department, I have 1500 clerks working. So I would test for 1500 clerks. So there is no increase in the clerk. At any given time and point, 1500 clerks would be sitting at their desks and doing the processing the files or processing the requests or complaints or whatever it is. Okay. So even the complaints are more at any given time and point, only 1500 people or 1500 clerks would be doing it. Okay. So if I test for 1500 clerks, it is more than enough. At any given time and point, suppose say at the morning 10 o'clock or afternoon 12 o'clock or evening 3 o'clock, at the maximum, only those 1500 clerks would be working. Each clerk would be doing on the screen on a one request or a one complaint or a one file. That's it. After he completes that, he'll go to the next. So at any given time and point, it is only 1500 clerks. Okay. So that application is of that nature or that usage. So I have to test it with that kind of error. As I quoted earlier, for online shopping kind of an applications, I should do different scenarios. One scenario would not be sufficient there. My peak business days, my normal business days, or my low business days would be there. Accordingly, I have to conduct the tests. What? Okay. What system capacity is required to handle the expected? So when I do performance testing, yes, I am measuring the response times, how fast the application is working, is one aspect. Another aspect is for 1000 users, what capacity of my server is getting utilized. Okay, so this is also very important metric. Okay, that is for 1000 users, my server RAM utilization is of 30%. My CPU utilization is of 40%. That is also important because if I am launching the application now, this is of 30% utilization, this is of 40% of utilization for 1000 users of load. Is what is the result that is I'm giving to the application team. Tomorrow when the load increases, how much left out utilization is available is a very important metric that the architect should know. Okay, for 1000 users, I am having 30% utilization of my memory and 40% of my CPU. With this infrastructure, with this capacity of my system, if I go to production, yes, this application would not have any problem with the capacity of that infrastructure. Tomorrow, even if it goes for 2000 users of load, this would increase. The memory might increase to 40% and the CPU might increase to 60%. Yes, this utilization is optimal. Otherwise, what will happen? If the utilizations are going to 90%, I have only 10% of margin of scope. Okay, if that 10% is also getting consumed, what will happen? The entire system would crash, and for all the users, the application will not be available. None of the end users would be able to access the application. So system capacity, finding out the system usage or the capacity under load is also another very important metric that the architect of the application would be interested in. Response times is always end user, from the end user perspective, that is the important metric. From the development team or from the architecture team or from the infrastructure teams, their main interest would be how my system capacity is getting utilized, what is the utilized capacity, what is the available capacity. With that, they will come to a conclusion saying that, okay, in production, I have to buy this infrastructure for this application. So performance testing is also determining what kind of infrastructure has to be purchased and should be installed for the application in production. And tomorrow when the business is doing good, at what time and point they have to upgrade their systems. Now only don't buy the infrastructure with a lot of money. For the current business, for the current usage, have a certain capacity. Tomorrow, if the business is increasing down the line, how much capacity is required? Now only I am finding it out and giving it as a report. So that after 6 months I will invest, not now. Not now. Who knows if the business doesn't do good? Okay. Why I have to invest now itself? It's a very logical thing. So the system capacities are also measured while doing performance testing. Okay. And when I'm saying the performance is bad or the performance is good or the performance of certain area of the application is bad, okay, I need to know What is the cause for it? Where is the bottleneck? Why it is performing very badly? Okay, is also very important. So, here the bottleneck is nothing but the cause for bad performance. What is the root cause? Why the transaction is behaving slowly? Okay, why when I am searching a particular record, or when I am searching, suppose say when I am searching for a employee number, or when I am searching for a bank account number, why I am getting the response very slowly, that is 10 seconds or whatever it is. The reason could be the code that is written for it, or the database query that is been written for it, or the database design across the design might be the design could have been done in a certain way that the indexing is not there, or the query is setting multiple tables, fetching the data and populating it on the front end. Because of these things, the response time or the performance of that search is very bad. The result is coming, functionality is working fine, but it is taking time. Why? Because the code is written like that, the database design is like that, the query is being written very badly, or indexing is not being done correctly in the system. So, bottleneck finding out is also one of the aspects in performance testing. Okay, how do we detect errors that only occur under real world conditions? This we have already discussed. Functional testing, everything is working fine. Our IRCT is example. Only in real production, what has happened till 2 years back or what or so, it is that all the 1 lakh users or 10 lakh users are hitting at the same call time, and I'm getting white pages. I get the page cannot be displayed, or I get connection error, or whatever it is. Okay, this would never have occurred in your functional testing cycles. No one in the functional testing, no one during the development or unit testing or functional testing or your functional automation would have found it. You can only find it out if you put load onto the application. That is, you can only find it out in your performance testing. Okay, why? You are building the real load conditions here. In the market, if 10,000 users are accessing the application, using LoadRunner, I am also mimicking the same situation. I am also simulating the same situation as if 10,000 users are accessing it. Now I'll get to know, definitely. Okay, so that is what is the. So how can we optimize a multi-user application before it goes to live? So our results, response times, capacity measurement, or which parts of the application, where the bottlenecks are. If I give out a report, then the application development team, infrastructure team, architect, and all would sit and fix those problems, optimize the application so that everything, response times are good, system capacities are good, and application is sustaining the load and it is performing well. Okay, so all these would be the different aspects of why we do performance testing, why we do performance testing. Okay, so I think it's already time. I will end it here, and in the next sessions we will much go deeper into the other concepts, like what are the different types of performance testing, uh, and also slowly we'll get into the concepts of tool. Actually, this is all about concepts of performance testing. We'll also slowly get into the tools. So I have all that details here, and then all the technical jargon of or the technical concepts of performance testing I'll take you through, and then we will start with the tool, actually practical. So whatever how I have designed this is, whatever I am talking now as a concept, the same we would be doing on the tool also. Okay, the tool has the features to handle all these performance testing concepts. Okay, the tool is nothing anything more than what is required for performance testing. All that put together, they have built a tool, by creating different features and options in the tool. Okay, so I will cut short it here for today, and then we will continue in the next sessions with the rest part of the concepts, and then probably it will take another session for the concepts. Thereafter, we'll go on to the tool. Okay, so thank you.